What is up, guys? Welcome back to another trade review. My name is Forrest. I invest in stuff. This is another trade review. How I made, I believe, $16,000 overnight. Yeah, so it's October now, but last week, which was September 29th, my P&L on the day was about $17,000. Damn! So I want to show you guys the setup that I saw on SPX, pop into the position that I took, and try and understand this trade. So the first thing that I'm going to do is tell you to subscribe to my channel. I'm going to start doing these on a regular basis, talking about trades, good and bad, but right now we are looking at a good one because we're all here to make money. So I trade SPX, by the way. There's benefits to that. Not going to talk about it in this video, but let's go to the 1 day, looking at the daily chart. Actually, let's go to the 15-minute chart. Oops, we want 15 minutes on SPX, and we want to look at the 28th to the 29th. So looking at my screen right now, you can see that we're in this kind of interesting, expanding, almost megaphone level. What are my hotkeys on? Oh, here they go. So can I clear? Is there a way to clear all of my indicators? Set chart? Nope. Remove drawings. Awesome. So we can see here that I'm kind of in there's this resistance level here, right around the 37.14 level. Put a level there, and then we have a declining of support level here, right? And so this is almost like a megaphone pattern. So just think of the actual shape of a megaphone, right? It opens up, but because the top is flat, this is bearish, right? So we have like a bearish megaphone pattern forming here on our 15-minute chart. These spikes here essentially mark the day, right? We have our opening and closing volume right next to each other. So as you see these spikes of volume, it's always the open and close, and that's what we're looking at here. So the trade where I made, around that $16,000 was actually here, September 28th, coming into the 29th. So why did I take this trade? Well, let's look at what we see on the charts, right? So we have this pattern, this cycle going, and we see that we bought up on the 28th right into the close, right? We just kept bidding it up, and I bought some puts right there at the close. Let's actually see and try and find my position here. We're gonna go to documents and let's open up this file. Try and take a look at my position, right? So on the 28th, got some October 22nd, 3,200 puts, 3,000 puts, right? So it looks like my first trade on the 28th in the morning was selling 3660 puts. All right, it actually doesn't matter because I remember what the play was. Let's ignore that for now. Super late, by the way, guys. I'm tired, but I want to get this video out for the week. The actual position doesn't matter. So I do remember I went 30 points outside the money. So what does that mean? On the money means you buy an option at the current price, right? So if the market closed, we zoom in here, we can see where the market kind of closed here, right around, well, that's 14. We'd actually go to market close would be right around 1500, but we're in the wrong time zone. So let's go to New York time zone, and we can see that 1500 4 would actually be 1600, right? So yeah, this is the close. Cool. So the market closed right around 37.18, right? 37.18 was our closing price, and we tanked. Looks like we opened down, what is that, 30 points, 40 points, right? 37.18, 2020. Yeah, so right around 35 points. I bought strikes that were 30 points out the money on the downside, right? So puts, those opened green, and you can see that we had a huge sell-off the morning of the 29th. I sold these right around this point, so I did not maximize profits. Those instantly went green, and so all in all, it ended up being a good trade. So let's actually go back to why I took this trade, right? That's kind of the point of this video, and kind of the setup that you need to look out for. This ended up being, every put that I took, they were one dated contracts, right? They expired on the 29th. I took them on the 28th, and they all ended up being like 100% or 200% plays, puts, right? I think I also bought some even further dated contracts that ended up going in the money. Why does this happen? Well, when you have huge gaps in the market, IV spikes, right? IV will force up the premiums. And so if you expect volatility, if you expect a jump in the market, it's a great way to make a trade. You don't always have to trade the day, guys. I have some other videos coming out talking about how to trade in small accounts. This is a great strategy for small accounts, right? Look for these really clear and clean setups. Look for where we have these levels, right? These very clear levels that are forming. And you're trying to figure out, wow, we closed way up here. What are the odds, right? Given this market and the macro environment that we're in right now, right? Interest rates are still rising, right? We had this very bearish breakdown here, back coming from the 22nd to the 23rd. What are the odds, given that we bought up into the close of the market on the 28th, that we opened higher, exceptionally low, right? They're exceptionally low, right? We're in a very bearish market right now overall. Our overall trend is down, right? So why would this open higher? Very, very unlikely, right? So zooming in here, we can see that we opened right around 36.8709, and then we came all the way down in the open to 36.46, right? From what is this? 36.87 down to 36.46. Huge sell-off, guys. And then we actually sold off, chopped a little bit more the next few days, and then we sold off into close last Friday. Now, what did I do after that, right? So my current play, I have put still to the downside, so I actually didn't need to increase my position there. I actually do think we're breaking to the downside. I did buy calls. I actually let the bias, I'm in a few trading groups actually, and I let bias from other traders actually inform my position. So I did take calls here. Those are probably going to open red tomorrow. We'll see. By the time you see this, I'll know. There is a chance that we open higher, but I do think we're going to sell off. This is a very bearish break of this pattern, right? We had basically this price movement where we kept testing this ceiling, and then we completely broke away from that, right? We actually punched through the floor, right? And when you break down through the floor, it's not like you're going to suddenly find new support, right? They might find some other weaker support down here, but that means that we're probably going to continue falling, which is actually my primary thesis, is that we're going to see a bearish break of the mic of this megaphone. And that was here, right? This point, when we closed this day here, this was the huge sign that we were going to have a bearish day, right? So if you talk about what you should have seen coming from the 28th to the 30th, I mean, this was a clear signal right here that this was bearish. I know some people were looking to the upside. Didn't make a lot of sense in my opinion. And this is why I think in general, guys, you have to form your own thesis as traders, trade your own P&L, listen to other people's analysis, but ignore their conclusions. People are exceptionally biased, and they want things. They think that because the price is low, it has to go high. And that was generally the thesis of a lot of people here closing down here. It's like, oh, well, we closed low, but it's like, yeah, but I think if we're going to buy up, they have plenty of opportunity. If you think about it, market mechanics, there was plenty of opportunity on the 29th to bid this up. Plenty, right? So it doesn't really make sense after, letting it dip and put in new lows, come down or really wait to do that again, right? It just doesn't make sense, guys. So what we're seeing here is newer lows in the market. This might gap up from this post or after hours lows, but still maybe even lower than where I took those contracts. So I'm going to get out of those as soon as I can. But nonetheless, this overnight gap, right? This gap trade here that we see here, and I can't remember what all the shapes are in TradingView. I actually want to draw a box here, but I can't. This ended up, I don't know why I have this little line here. This ended up being a $17,000 trade. That was a great trade. My position sizing was not crazy. The lesson for me is actually when this opened, Bookmap, which shows market orders, open market orders, was all on the downside. So Bookmap is a great tool. I'm not going to bring it up right now, but I should have held these. I had a ton of reason to hold these, and I easily could have made, like $30,000 or $40,000 on a day. I think even more when I look at the end of the day. I could have made like $50,000 just overnight in that position. I'll take the 17 grand, not bad, but could have been a much bigger day. I wouldn't have held all those anyways. I should have let some runners go longer, but I'm still learning too. I'm still improving, guys. I make money in the market, I lose money, but ultimately I want to show these setups like this because this is a very clear setup, right? Imagine you can't see anything past this timeline right now, right? After the close on the 28th, and you have to ask yourself, what are the odds of the next thing that's going to happen, right? Given what I've seen, given the macroeconomic environment, what does it make sense for the market to do after this vertical line, right? Does it break up here or does it break below? I bet on the downside, I was right. Now, sometimes you'll be wrong, but you have to go with the odds. You have to go with what makes the most sense. Statistically, if you want to make money, you do this every day. 9 times out of 10, you see this setup, it's going to break to the downside. It's not going to break to the upside. The one time that it breaks to the upside, well, thank God you didn't YOLO and you just put in a good position size. Even with a small position size, this was a huge potential trade. Huge potential trade. You see another gap up here, right? Gap up in the market. Great potential trade there, right? I'm not sure if I caught that one. I may have, or if I did, it was a much smaller position. But there's always this opportunity to make these huge gains in the market, and you don't have to do all this bullshit chop here. Like, look at all this chop. The day before was tough, right? You basically could have not traded all day of the 28th, took swing puts, and made money for the entire freaking month. That's how you become a good trader, is identifying really good setups and leaning into the good setups, right? Lean into the good stuff. Don't try and trade these candles here. So many people I know try to trade these candles. Oh, well, I'm going to get in and I'm going to get out. And I'm just like, dude, you're making 14 bucks every 2 minutes. You're freaking out the entire time. You're asking if you should exit. You know, you're like, was my entry good? You're chasing the ask. And, you know, here I am, you know, just leaning into the big trades, you know, looking for solid setups on days. This was a pretty good reversal point here on the 29th, right, that you could have entered. But just look for the clear setups, guys. Like, here's another clear setup. Great setup here. Even if you got in late, I mean, you had plenty of downside here. Those are the things that you need to look for. So zoom out on the chart like I am now. You know, normally when we're trading, I'll switch to the 3 minute. You know, we're looking at a chart like this. I'm like, man, I don't know what to do. It's like, well, we're so zoomed in. It's much harder to see the macro pattern. But as soon as you zoom back out, go back to the 15 minute, we can go, oh, I know where this thing is going. And you don't need crazy patterns or exceptional technical analysis skills to see the levels that the price wants to reject. And you can see me adding some new levels in here actively, but all these places where it bounced before is very likely to bounce again, right? Creating these levels is not hard, guys. It's just something, take some practice. You can add in volume after this to kind of reinforce these levels. Zoom in on different time frames. We'll go to the 5 minute. See what it looks like on the 5 minute. What are some other levels that we can add? It looks like we have a zone around here. That's a pretty clear zone, actually. We'll add a level there. This looks like another level there, right? And I could refine these further, but this just takes a few minutes, and the price will bounce off of these things, guys. If you think like, oh, I wonder how well these will work. Like, if the price comes back into the zone, it will bounce off of these levels. I guarantee it. That's just how trading works. But that is it for this one, guys. I wanted to show you a pretty clear setup on that day. And yeah, if you have questions, leave them down in the comments. Got a ton of new trading content coming out. Also, you'll notice I got rid of the link to my website. Gonna do a new website. I'm working on something cool in terms of like learning content and building a community. So that's gonna be out soon. So stay tuned, guys. A lot of cool stuff going on. Very, very busy time for me. But ultimately, my goal is to help people, as many people as I can, become financially free, or even just make a little bit more money. You know, I think it's totally okay. Maybe you don't want to be a full-time trader. You know, maybe you want to take a few trades a week, make a couple $100 so you can travel, you know, take your family on vacation for free. That's cool too. I think that's totally cool. So yeah, all of the above. Any reason why you might need money, I want to help people, enable people to do that. I think it's super cool to do, because why not? You know, trading by yourself is kind of boring, honestly. I get sort of freak out when I'm at my desk without, you know, some community behind it. So I think I've tried to end this 4 times now. Yeah, this is it. Peace.